Welcome one, welcome all to the Mountain Men Podcast, Episode 1. I am Josh Braun, and today I am here with Alex Fair
You.
from Spring City, Pennsylvania. He's visiting for the weekend up here, so we thought we'd do a little bit of a podcast and talk a little bit about one of my favorite bands, and I'm sure one of yours as well, just in your list, Alice in Chains. And we're specifically taking a look at the first albums with Lane. We're not really going to talk much about the William Duvall years, but I'm willing to recognize that they're still
they're still really good.
still good. They'll be in there, but we don't really want to go over them a whole lot. So what did you have? I'm going to eat as well here. So what did you have written down for...
What
what do you want to start with? I guess I could just go in order, chronological order of the albums.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to start. I have kind of a brief mention here thing, kind of like just quick, easy pre-Alice in Chains stuff. It's really funny that Lane Staley had a band before Alice in Chains. They were Alice in Chains, like Alice and Chains.
Right, they were a glam band.
They were kind of a glam hair band. They were a little heavy on the heavy side, so they already kind of had some of those tendencies, and you could kind of tell that Lane could already belt it. But it's kind of one of those Pantera situations where they were kind of this mediocre glam band, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, let's change genres. Let's try being a little more aggressive." And then they change the landscape of music. You know?
Oops.
Yeah. Oops. I think starting with Facelift, which I think is a perfect one to start with because it's their first album. Facelift in 1990. I mean, I don't think people were ready. Like 1990.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So if you were there in like the 80s and you had this nice like feel good vibes, like the 80s are so E.T. the extraterrestrial, it's painful. Like everything's fake. Everybody lies to each other. They're doing coke and cheating on each other behind closed doors. But in public, they put on this nice pretty boy image. And all of a sudden, 1990, you have Facelift, and then you have Cowboys from Hell, and you have Rust in Peace, and all these like landmark albums come out.
Black Album.
Was that 90 or 91?
91.
Okay, so even then though, like that's still like all these things are hitting, and they're hitting quick, and then Nevermind hits, and then all of a sudden it's just whoa, this whole wave. Some people kind of attribute Guns N' Roses to kind of starting the aggressive stuff. I don't see it, because to me, I just think they're more like, take a hair metal band, rub them in classic rock, and it's Guns N' Roses, you know?
Yeah, they're in the glam scene more or less than
they
anything else.
But they were a little, I'd say they were a little more... They had more balls to them than like a Poison, you know. They didn't look like women. So, and that's no offense to the women glam bands. I mean, I just, you know, it's just a saying, you know. But the hair metal bands, I mean, the guys tried to look like women, or it was a joke, or I don't know. I didn't get the whole. I always thought aesthetically hair metal was the funniest fucking thing.
Yeah.
Now, some of those bands though are actually not too bad musically if you give them a chance, but it's so hard
depends.
to when you laugh at how goofy they look.
I think it's not even the way they look; it's the content. Like, think about
it's so fake. It's always fast girls, hot cars.
I don't remember who it was. It was the singer of like. It was the singer of like. What were some of the big metal glam? There was Poison.
Big glam. We got Poison.
Motley Crue.
Cinderella.
Cinderella was one of them. I think it was
Whitesnake, but
was Poison's lead. Do you have blonde hair? He's like kind of a big guy with blonde hair. Do you know?
Like a fruity guy, yeah. Bret Michaels.
Not Bret Michaels, no. Fuck.
Who are you looking for? Okay, so
I don't know.
Blonde hair.
It doesn't matter. One of blonde hair and a glam metal band. Which one? You know? Yeah. What I was saying. I'm gonna turn everyone's mic down here a little bit. What I was getting at was like I was watching a documentary about this, like a part of a documentary about grunge and like how it started. And the lead singer of one of those, like one of the glam metal bands that gets hit a lot. He was like,
Winger.
No, maybe. I don't know. No,
well, Metallica and Winger had a feud. That was a big deal.
It wasn't one of them. But he was like, he said in this interview, he's like, with grunge, I didn't like it. I still don't. I don't understand. He literally said, he's like, I don't understand what the point is in talking about how fucked up your life is when you know it's fucked up rather than just going out and banging some chicks.
Oh, I think you're talking about the
That
guy
is-
from Warren.
maybe that
because
is-
we were talking about the cherry pie guy.
No, it's not him. That's
Oh.
Cherry. No,
They're
no,
so
that
all
was-
the same though.
Yeah.
Like that's how sad it is. Like,
No,
we're,
like that. He said that, and that really just like, if you needed confirmation that glam metal doesn't
It
care
deserved
about
to
metal as a
exist.
genre, that's it. Because like that's all you can talk about. I don't understand why you wouldn't write a song about just going out having fun and fucking chicks. Like that's it. That's all you got. You know, but
it's
like
fake.
glam
but,
was very, but grunge came into this whole thing. It was very dark.
and it
it's
destroyed
dark and it's
hair metal.
powerful.
I mean,
Oh,
but the best part is if you want to check out something hilarious, check out go to like look up some 1991 to 94, 95 era. The hair bands all tried releasing albums, aggressive and stuff, and they're all terrible. Poison released this album, and they even brought on a really good guitar guy. I can't remember his name right now, but they did this weird grunge concept album because I guess Poison thought, people are going to take us seriously now because now we're stealing the music that they like now because we can't go away. And oh my god, like it opens on like these tribal beat kind of stuff, and then it kicks in, and it's such a Van Halen ripoff. Like you could tell, like they sat down and went, well, we can't go hair metal. Let's try doing Van Halen because Van Halen's not a hair band. They're rock and roll, so maybe we can get those fans to like us.
Right.
And they didn't, because that's the thing. Hair metal was like it's pop metal. And
Yeah.
what's the thing about pop music? It recycles itself every couple of years. They throw you away.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a fuck about you. Nobody's going to stick around for a career when, hair metal... It's just this insulting thing where, a lot of the hair metal bands were so fake and their lyrics were all about exactly what we were talking Oh, getting with chicks, driving a fast car, getting drunk, getting, all these things. And then, like, all of a sudden... you get a band like Alice in Chains, and I might be jumping forward a bit here, but their song Nutshell, if you can listen to that and come out not feeling anything, I can't talk to you because Nutshell. I mean, there's a couple lines in there. The song's not a lot, but I just thought maybe I'm gonna just read through the lyrics real quick because it's just like 8 lines. And it's one of those things that Lane was so important in Alice in Chains, and I think he's really missed. But here's
we're really getting off track here a little
Oh,
bit.
I know.
We were talking about
hair
my
bands
point
is-
with I really want to bring
I'll
up glam
come
metal
back
as well
to this, yeah.
because like in the midst of this glam crap, all of a sudden it's like Alice in Chains comes out of nowhere with Facelift, and again they started glam, but then like Facelift, I've always said, if that's your first album by a band, like if that's your very first album when you're that young, that's nuts.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
what
I
what an opening album to have for your whole career.
Well, yeah, Facelift, we've got We Die Young, which is a very heavy track.
It starts We Die Young, and you were talking to me before about like how that stuff was on like radio and whatnot, and that's crazy because like that's a heavy song for like popular radio.
Oh yeah, and track number 2 is Man in the Box, which
is
people
one of
forget,
the-
it was a number 1 single, as in not on the rock charts, not in the alternative charts. We're talking on all charts, like number 1 on the Billboard top the Hot 100 or whatever. Like Man in the Box. I mean, the lyrics. Is sew your eyes shut. Deny your maker. I mean, there's some stuff in that is like that was a hit. Nowadays, people lose their crap if something like that hit the radio. And We Die Young. That's way heavy.
Heavy song, very heavy song.
And I even wrote down to talk about another track on there. I think one that gets overlooked, but it's Love, Hate, Love.
It doesn't get overlooked. I don't think so.
I think Alice in Chains fans don't overlook it, but like I've never heard in any kind of conversation anybody just talk about Love, Hate, Love,
That's
which
fair.
I think is unfortunate because it's a really, really good track. It's its own thing because I haven't really heard anything that sounds like it. It kind of builds up, and it's really around that like diminished ideas. You know, it's very.
Yeah. I mean, the third song on the album, Sea of Sorrow, kind of
Oh, that's a good one.
also
yeah.
comes out of nowhere. It's a little, I don't know, like every song on this album has a very similar feel to it, but like they're so individualized. It's pretty nuts. But A Sea of Sorrow is a great track. Bleed the Freak,
Bleed
which
the
when
Freak.
I went to see them, they opened with that song.
Ah.
A very strange song to like open up with, but at the same time, I was like, yo, that's brilliant. Like that's a great. Somehow that was just a great song to start off with. You know, it starts off with that slow, sort of creepy kind of feel into it, and that little bend guitar line and the da 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 was very, very typical of Alice in Chains. Like just that creepy vibe to start it off.
With Bleed the Freak, I'm a weird person. With like, I've listened to like other stuff besides just the main albums, and I like their demo for Bleed the Freak from '89. They recorded a demo of a bunch of songs that made it on Facelift, and their demo of it, it's a little faster and it's a little more like punk them, and it's a little different, but it's kind of interesting listening to it because it's a fresh look on it. And I don't know, it was just something about their demo version of it that I'm like, oh, I like this one more. It was a little more aggressive, and it was very different for them because the one that hit the album is more typical Alice in Chains. Their demo version sounds like a whole different band playing it,
Right.
so it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It gives a little bit of diversity to their track.
Yeah, that's
list.
cool. Right after that is I Can't Remember. Which, you know, I again, it's kind of one of those. It's a little slower it's on the slower side, but it's just this very. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just this cool, slow, creepy, which is a lot of Alice in Chains stuff. You know, Lane's doing some just very, very nice vocals on this one. You know, it's not all power stuff, but it shows his versatility in his voice, which is, you know, pleasant by itself, but then just powerful. You know,
That's one thing about Lane, man. He could belt it if he needed to, and he could do it really. Like, his range was pretty crazy.
Oh yeah,
because he could do some kind of more laid back kind of tracks, but then
Yeah.
you give him any kind of, you know, you want him to go for it, and he could hit a really high note, but he could also like really bring like aggressiveness to it. You know.
And then the big one, Love Hate Love. You know, this song, I first heard this song, and I was like, whoa, this song is fucked up. You know, like, it's very, like, the subject matter of it by itself is very dark and very depressing in its own kind of way, but it has this sense of just being really messed up, and you really are kind of like, wow, like, I feel for, like, you know, whoever's got to go through, you know, something like that. Just like this whole, it's very twisted, and it's very clear, like, an inside of a twisted mental person, you know. Yeah, the instrumentation on it really fits the song very well. Jerry Cantrell does a great job of filling in those gaps with the lead lines, but then knowing what to play rhythmically to
And
fit everything
riff,
in.
I mean, hell,
Yeah.
his the little chuggy thing he does, like the jan.
Yeah,
It's
Works out.
It's so moody.
Works out really well. And then, of course, you know, unfortunately, the big talk of the Alice in Chains a lot is the voice, you know, Lane. But to be fair, that's a huge part of it. And that song, he just goes insane. The very end of it, he's pretty cool. You know, the chorus has some high stuff in it. But then the very end of it is like, whoa. You know, he just does this insane, you know, this huge, like, scream thing. It's kind of like, it's not even really screaming, it's just this powerhouse. It really shows that era of music was really good for getting just people who had just distorted, gravelly, but powerful and full vocals, and that song proves it, if nothing else.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
that's a damn great track for that.
Well, I think one thing that really helps Alice in Chains so much is the fact that they had so much talent. I mean, Jerry Cantrell's an incredible guitar player.
Oh yeah, he's good.
The whole band, they worked well together. I know they had a bass player change in '93. They went from Mike Inez to Mike Starr.
Yeah.
Or no, the other way around. They went from Mike Starr to Mike Inez because Mike Starr, I think, he ended up dying because he couldn't get his problem under control. But that's kind of why they kicked him out.
Yeah.
That was a big problem with a lot of '90s bands. They were really good, but they all had drug problems, you know.
Yeah.
And I had somebody tell me the other day that the reason why, now this is controversial. They said the reason why music's not that good anymore is because record companies stopped going with talented people because talented people take too long to finish a project because they work on it, you know, like, or they have all kinds of other problems, and that's where the stuff's coming from. But
there's still you stop hitting your microphone, please. You keep hitting it like that. No, there's still talent in them. In a lot of this stuff, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I know. It's just really interesting because, I mean, I think Facelift's an incredible album of, like, what it is, you know? Like, for its genre, it's definitely one of the better debut albums. I mean, I'm not going to put it up against... For me, I think the best grunge debut has to go to Pearl Jam's 10, because I don't... For me, Pearl Jam's 10, I mean, the first 6 tracks on that album are all just golden star, perfect tracks. And then it's still, like, incredibly great down the backstretch. Whereas Facelift, I think's a little up and down. I think there's straight up 10s. And then I think there's some where I don't think they're perfect tracks. But I think they improved on it with, I think Dirt's their best album.
That's we'll get into some of the other songs here. We talked Love Hate Love. We got that was next on the track list was It Ain't Like That. And this is kind of one of those really cool. The main riff of that song is very, very cool. It's got a nice the song overall has a nice groove to it. And then it really kind of, again, it showcases Lane's, like, not really high stuff, but just power, you know, and just pure, like, you know, the "It Ain't Like That," you know, it's very full. Jerry Cantrell, again, doing a great job with the solo on here. He's incorporating the wah a bit, which he incorporated a lot back in the day. You know, he's got his own wah pedal. I don't know if you know that or not.
Oh, yeah.
He's got his own signature wah pedal. Actually, Lizzie Hale uses it from Hailstorm. So it's like her thing is the Jerry Cantrell wall. She loves Alice in Chains.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sunshine, I wasn't sure how to feel about it first, and I don't know why, because now I hear it and I'm like, yo, this is a great song.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very... Again, it keeps the slow factor that a lot of Alice in Chains stuff has, but it's just a great overall song. You know, which goes into Put You Down, which is a little more upbeat for this album, especially. You know, very fun song, but still keeps it all together and keeps the Alice in Chains vibe and feel of everything. Confusion, you know, where, you know, it comes back down to slow. One of Lane's moments, and just like a cited Lane Staley moment, is the high note in this song, "Skin Knees You Crawl." Kind of the extended high notes, and he kind of pushes out of his he pushes up in the highs a little bit there out of the where the big high note comes from.
Let's see, what track was that? 9, you said?
That was 10.
Confusion's
the 10th.
And then what? I Know Something About You.
I Know Something About You. That one took me by surprise. That I was like, yo, what is that?
Yeah.
I was like, is this a funk song? Like,
yeah.
But it has such a cool, fun groove to it. And then again, Lane killing it on this song. You know, everything just does really well. This is a really fun song. I really like this track just as a whole. That funk thing in the beginning, very, and then the chorus really is one of the showcasing songs of Alice in Chains harmonies, which we're going to get into at some point. But the Alice in Chains harmonies, Jerry Cantrell and Lane together have a great thing.
They didn't do them like every band, every great band finds a way to like kind of do their own thing with their sound, and they use harmonies in such a unique way. I mean, they're going off of what? Don't they do minor thirds a lot of times? What they're singing?
I mean,
Or-
yeah, there's a lot.
I mean, they
There's a
try
lot
different
you
things.
can
I mean,
do
I'm not
in
going to
there.
say that it's one sound.
Right.
But I mean, like a lot of times they would use certain they would try to diminish things and like for a band that had like I looked it up, they had 5 #1 hits. For a band with 5 #1 hits to use diminished scales and all these other kinds of things, like everybody typically thinks of radio being kind of pop music, and the early 90s was just such a weird period where like all this real music was hitting people. And how crazy is that?
Pull your mic up a bit.
Up.
You're like not talking in the diaphragm anymore.
All right,
Just like make sure it sits there. Other way. Other way.
what do you mean?
There you go. Now tighten it. Tighten it like a lot. Yeah. I need better mic stands that hold
All
it
right.
a little bit.
Another thing I kind of found here. Technically, before Facelift, they had released a EP for We Die Young, which included apparently a rare track they never released on anything else called "Killing Yourself." So, it's news to me. So that's kind of cool to find out that I didn't know this one. So.
Something I was gonna say about I Know Something About You is in the towards the end with that Jerry Cantrell's doing a lot of those like those runs in there and have a lot of those hammer runs and pull offs, and that's one thing that I think he's really good with is getting those little licks into songs
Yeah.
like that. He's very quick in his transition of licks, and I think that's really cool in his style when he does that. And he likes to do a lot of the stuff with the bends that kind of teeter with the scale, and that's a really cool thing, and that's a good showcase of it. Is I Know Something About You. The last song of the album, Real Thing, I kind of overlooked it at first. Now I've gotten back into it a lot more because Lane kills it with the way his control on the song and the way it really gives you a sense of how he does his vowels as well. He's got a very unique way of singing his vowels, and it's just a wonderful overall sound that you get out of him from this song. But yeah, no, overall, Facelift really shows off a lot of stuff. I mean, obviously it starts in Lane is insane through the whole album. That doesn't need to be spoken of. Drums, when I first heard like what is it, Sea of Sorrow, and he was doing some of those really like awkward, but like not even awkward, just like those really cool drum fills. I kind of started to notice how awesome that drummer is. Because he's so different. Sean Kinney is his name.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's good at really keeping the groove together and still being able to find these really cool creative fills. Because like any drummer can just he doesn't just do that. It's so much more than that. And later on, he does a lot of different stuff. He's got splashes and chinas and stuff that he hits every now and again. But even just his fills on that song very specifically show it off quite a bit. It's very cool. It really sets the mood for what a lot of Alice in Chains stuff is, but then it also gives you a really good sense of just pure musicianship and that these guys really know what they're doing.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, I know that Alice in Chains, a lot of the time when you talk about it, it's like, Alice in Chains, Lane Staley, but he's got a bitchin' group of people to work with. He's got some incredible musicians on here. Jerry Cantrell's a great guitar player. Sean Kinney is a fantastic, probably really underrated drummer.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he gets a lot of credit, and I think he should. Mike Starr, obviously, he's great. He writes just really fitting bass lines, and just really knows what he's doing. He knows when to hang back. He's just got this really nice groove to him that I don't know. I love him. He's incorporated very well into the style.
Yeah. Well, see, I think the biggest shame was when Mike Starr left, because
I don't know how you did this. You moved over this way, so you're talking like to the side of your mic. You need to stay more centered. Yeah, there you go.
No, it's just interesting that you just see Mike Starr just added a lot of really great value onto their stuff. I mean, the bass on Wood is incredible. The bass line.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's...
That's what?
I mean, that's jumping ahead a bit, but... Because I guess, after Facelift, we have to hit SAP or SAP. See, it's interesting, because on the front cover, it has it in capital letters, but it is SAP dropping into a bucket. So, yeah, I've always heard I've had some people call it SAP, I've had other people just call it SAP. I'm sure it's probably
SAP,
intended to be
sure.
SAP, but,
yeah.
I think there's really two highlights off this one that I'd kind of think are worth mentioning. I haven't listened to this one in a while, honestly, which...
Was it... No, SAP was before Dirt, right?
Yeah, SAP's before.
Same year, though, yeah?
It is the same
Both
year.
1992, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Brother and Got Me Wrong are really the two tracks to talk about this one.
That's fair.
The one was, they had... so Brother's a really good song, but Got Me Wrong, I believe, is the one they had...
That's the second song on the album.
It's the second song. No, what song is it on here? There was one of the songs on here. I could have sworn. It is on. It was Brother. I was right. Okay, Brother.
Yeah.
Had Ann Wilson from Heart saying.
Yeah.
It.
She was on Brother and I Am Inside.
Oh yeah, and then Chris Cornell was on Right.
Chris
Turn.
Cornell was he did vocals on
crazy.
Right Turn.
To have Chris Cornell and Lane on the same thing. That's
Mark Arm was also vocals on Right
okay.
Turn. Yeah, that was something that those songs. I mean, really, like you get Ann Wilson, Chris Cornell, and Lane Staley on an album together. That's pretty nuts, And
Yeah.
Lane did do a song with Heart. I don't know what the name of it is, but of course he did a fantastic job.
yeah.
Very acoustic. It's not exactly what you'd, I guess, expect based on what you heard from Facelift, because Facelift is very heavy. This is all acoustic
Yeah.
oriented
Sap's,
stuff. It's an acoustic album, but it's awesome. When I first heard it, I didn't know what to expect because people don't really talk about it a lot, and they're kind of like, oh, and then there's SAP, and I was like, what do you mean, and then there's SAP? Is it not good? Is it just not popular? Is it average? But, like,
I think it kind of gets... Its biggest problem is it kind of falls where you have Facelift and Dirt around it, and then if you're going to talk about an Alice in Chains EP... that's acoustic, how do you not go with Jar of Flies, So
yeah.
I think that's a problem with SAP is Jar of Flies is, I give like a perfect rating to, whereas SAP's just, it's SAP.
See,
it's good, but it's...
Of the Lane era stuff, I understand the desire to call it the weakest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I understand that, but... I would never say that SAP's an average or like bad album because it's not. Like Brother, Brother is a fantastic song. Got Me Wrong is it's just a very fun song. There's a lot of fun to this album. I get, that's kind of what I feel from it. And then Right Turn and I Am Inside. I mean, Christ Almighty, you have Chris Cornell and Alice in Chains on there. That's huge. All on Right Turn. I mean, my God, how do you get that? But I love the instrumentation on I Am Inside. It's very depressing sort of sounding. It just has this nice, just enjoyableness to it, I guess. I don't know. I don't even know what to call it. But it's just so well done. It's such a simple album. It's very short. Mm-hmm. Which is why a lot of people pair it with Jar of Flies to make it a full album. That's what they did with the records.
Yeah, for vinyl, they
put the
put
two
them
of them
together.
Overall, this album is really good. It's kind of underrated, which is a shame. Like I said, it's not Dirt, it's not Facelift, it's not Jar of Flies even, but it's so nice. It's
Yeah,
such
it's a really nice one.
Fun. You can have fun with this,
Especially
album,
since
you
it's
know?
like kind of like the forgotten one. It's kind of one like people can revisit, but it's also one like if you've only heard like the mainstream Alice in Chains stuff, you've heard like probably nothing from Zap.
Yeah.
But I think I definitely want to jump to Dirt, you know? Like it's like
I understand that. Just before that, the hidden track that isn't listed, Love Song.
okay.
Some people you've heard it, right?
I don't know if I have.
It's the really weird one where they're just goofing around.
Okay,
basically,
yeah.
Which is like some people kind of crap on it because they're like, "Oh, dude, what a dumb, pointless song." And it's like, that's the thing is like, musicians back in the day, like they used to just be able to do that, just like say, all right, here's this, and this, and they could just goof off and do little things like this, and screw around. And I think Chris Cornell was on this as well. I think he was doing the main like melody in the beginning that he was just singing really high or in a higher register. And then, because it has here, Lane was on drums for that song. Jerry Cantrell played bass. Mike Starr played guitar. And then Sean Kinney did some drums and percussion, but he also was on megaphone and piano. Which was the part where he's just like yelling into it. The whole song, at the very end, you've got, they're all going back and forth. So, kiss the fucking midget, get the midget. This just... obviously the song doesn't necessarily mean something. It's just Sean Kinney's love song, take one, and it was just a fun thing. But I think that's really important for bands to be able to do that. Bands to screw around on stage all the time and do purposely bad covers of songs. Metallica did it with Iron Maiden. They would play like a really bad version of Run to the Hills, and they would just screw around with stuff back in the day. Alice in Chains did this with Love Song. That's important stuff. That's it shows chemistry in a band, and that really kind of shows that they don't have to take themselves super seriously all the time.
Yeah, well, that's where a lot of problems happen with bands.
Yeah,
is when because you have to realize there's so much downtime with them that if you can't fool around with those people, it's going to be a horrible experience.
Yeah. And probably one of the big ones for Alice, I don't know. I don't know if you'd even call this their biggest album as far as popularity goes, but Dirt.
Oh, Dirt's like their album. I know if you talk to general people, they would probably know Dirt as their biggest thing because, like, when you run through the track list, it's incredible. It opens on Them Bones, which
that's a jarring way to start an album. It's just immediately Lane just ow, and then this
so heavy.
This
Such
very chromatic guitar line to start off in the beginning. That down and it was just this, and then the chugs in the beginning, yeah.
Oh yeah. That's a really mean song.
Cool video as well.
Yeah.
Very interesting video.
And you go from that into Damn That River, which is another great heavy track.
Very, very up. Both songs kind of really giving you this upbeat feel right from the beginning. You kind of, I kind of feel like you can't listen to one without the other. You gotta put the two of them together because they're both just they're opening for the album, and they're so fun. They're so upbeat. Damn That River is a great song. Really, Lane really when he does that, he really gets that grit in there that really showcases his voice a really good amount. The bass on this album is also very interestingly put in the mix. If you've ever noticed it before, just like the way it's set in the mix with the guitars and everything else is very nice. I like it.
Oh yeah, no, I always thought like Alice in Chains, like I would notice the bass, which I know sometimes it's kind of funny. I think sometimes certain producers kind of try to bury certain instruments.
Yeah,
Alice in Chains, you hear everybody. The bass is never like that's one of the things about the '90s. '90s bands lived with it. Like bass players weren't demeaned and thrown in the trash can, just meant to add something to the song. They actually had a purpose, and there's tracks on here that don't work without the bass.
Yeah,
the song would not work without the bass. I mean,
Yeah.
it's such an important part of it.
You've got in Damn That River, you've got really this whole album. Jerry Cantrell's really got this, and I mean he's always had it, but this album I think it's very particular. This very like dirty guitar tone. You know what I mean? Like not just a story, like dirty, like grainy guitar tone. That's very different, I think, from the other stuff, but it's so cool. I quite like the tone of the guitar overall on this album. What?
So apparently the untitled song that's on here is called Intro Dream Sequence Iron Gland.
All right, you're jumping ahead.
I know.
We're gonna get there.
There's a shock when it comes to the writing credits, so we'll go to Rain When I Die, and we'll...
Yeah, Rain When I Die. Oh my God,
That's a hell of a
this
riff.
song is see the creepy intro to like get into the song. You know, it starts with the bass, but then it has the Alice in Chains like background. Like there's like, you know, how many guitar tracks are there going on at one time? It's just doing like its own thing all the time. And then it comes in with the main idea. Lane does it, you know, very dissonant sort of sounding. And then it comes in with the main riff, which is a wah riff. The wow, 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 wow. Very cool, very groovy. Lane is belting his ass off on this song. The chorus is just nuts. You know, it's going right. He just goes for it. It's pretty nuts. That's a big moment for him, and his vocal power is on this song. And then the interlude after the second chorus, I think, is done with the she won't let that whole thing.
Oh yeah, and that's a really crazy part.
It's transition. This song has a lot of transitions, a musical taste and aspects to it. And it's a little longer. It's 6 minutes. But it's a very experience-heavy song. I think it is anyway.
Oh, yeah.
In its own special kind of way, you know. Down in a Hole.
Down a Hole's a hell of a
One of the most depressing songs ever written, probably.
Yeah.
But it's not like, it doesn't fall like the stereotypical depressing. It's a very like
It's
well thought out.
It's not pop
like,
punk depressing. It's an actually good song.
very well done. Beautiful song. Instrumentation.
And the solo's great.
Lane's little soft vocal melody in the beginning there with his falsetto is so beautiful. You know, this is kind of a hangback song for the most part of it. You know, well-written harmonies and very tonal, powerful sort of sounding. You know, structurally, musically, it's written very well. It's very enjoyable. But yeah, one of the most depressing songs Alice in Chains has. Definitely. And this whole album's dark as hell.
It is
subject
dark,
matter,
but I'd say
you know.
it's real, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they're not tiptoeing around bullshit. They're not playing an act for you.
Yeah. This goes into Sick Man.
Sick Man!
That's a big...
Which, there's breakdowns in that are crazy. And,
yeah. No, the main kind of, if you want to call it that, I guess, breakdown. First of all, the drum intro, you know, really is showing showing Sean Kinney's style of drums. You know, it's not, you know, it's going low to high, which a lot of drummers do stuff high to low. You know, but he starts on the low. He just, you know, he's going up like that. Really cool. Groovy, keeps it together. Seeing him play it live is really awesome because he can just keep going. He keeps it together. He never screws up. Like he's a consistent drummer, and this song is really cool. The interlude, Lane, big example of dissonance in the guitar work and everything. Because that the breakdown after Sick Man, that whole whatever you want to call it in there. With the guitars just doing that, and Lane just kind of doing these like various screams, you know, and in his own way. I don't even know how to describe it, like I said, but it's so awesome to hear. It has a lot of, like you said, a lot of those very, you know, different scales and different sort of tonalities really come into play And it's not like it's written out verbatim as it is. It's just kind of him going live. When they did this with the orchestra with William Duvall, he killed the shit out of that part. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but he does this just nasty, just high scream on it. It's kind of like, whoa,
Yeah.
Where'd you get that from? Pretty cool. Into their probably their second most popular track,
song.
Rooster.
It's probably my third favorite Alice in Chains song. I think Rooster is incredible.
Yeah. Obviously, it's
it
about
goes-
war.
It goes
Jerry's
from
dad.
it goes from light to heavy as good as anybody. Because when the heavy part of it really kicks in the first time, I almost felt like I had no idea where it was coming. I remember like the first time I heard the song, I remember I was like, whoa, what the heck? I mean, I was like probably a small kid hearing it. And I just remember being, whoa. And then like I heard it over the years and everything. And then when I got into like my teens and I like sought out Alice in Chains, started listening to him a lot more. And then I was like, Rooster, I love this track.
The
I'm like,
interlude melody in it, that wow, 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 is very. It's so dark and it's so fitting the song. The bass line is really grooving in this one. It really hits very well. And again, the subject matter of the song is very dark. It's about Lane, or it's not. I'm sorry, it was about Jerry's dad in the war, and I don't know. The song is just well put together, just really well put together. God,
Junkhead.
probably my favorite song on this album, actually, Junkhead.
Really?
Dude, I love.
I think it's Mike's favorite song.
I
on
love
this.
this song. I mean, obviously,
Which
it's,
one? I don't even know it off the top of my head.
You don't know Junkhead?
Junkhead, not off the top of my head.
It's just a yeah.
Oh.
It's a very low song. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Then Dirt's on here.
Well, we didn't talk about Junkhead. Jeez. Can you wait? But no, Junkhead. I
want to talk about Junkhead.
I mean, this song is obviously, this is literally, this song is just like, hi, my name's Lane, and I'm heavily addicted to drugs. Because I'm pretty sure he was on heroin at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was. That sucks.
Sad.
But yeah, he was into drugs, specifically heroin, and this song really talks a lot about that. But then this song has. This and the demo both have this just massive, sustained, powerful high note from him. Jerry Cantrell's harmony in here is so befitting in its lower register. The solo is it has this nice, strange guitar tone to it. I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of scooped a little bit, I guess is the word you'd use for it. It doesn't quite sound like the other stuff on the album. It's not as dirty. But again, very fitting. The bass line going through here is awesome. Mike was a great fucking bass player. Dirt, the song Dirt.
Oh yeah. I think it's a really great track.
Very dark.
Yeah. It's
as everything else on this album is.
yeah. It that kind of play the
it really that sets the tone perfectly for the song, but it's a very, very strange riff, and it's so nice. It's so it holds that creepy tonality to it. Jerry Cantrell is doing great work on this song. Very dark. What do you want to say about it?
About
Dirt.
I mean, that's all I have.
All right.
I'm ready to move on. The next one I have stuff to.
The thing is that this album
next track.
is not mastered extremely well and mixed, and this song does clip quite a bit.
Godsmack does?
No, Dirt. At the end of it, I don't know if you're the one who doesn't care is one who shouldn't be. The last one, you can just hear all the distortion in there, and it kind of at first I was like, ugh, but the song is just too good. The song is so good. It's slow. It's just got this great slow groove. I love it. Godsmack.
Yeah, I have.
I don't really know. I don't know. It's a very again. It starts with a very atonal.
Oh, it's good
riff.
My thing is that it's kind of funny. The band Godsmack took their name because of this song, and there's actually a symbol next to it with a G on the album cover on Dirt. if you look for it, you can find it. It looks like a flaming sun kind of thing. Godsmack actually took that and made it their logo, and they went with the name Godsmack. So I have to think they talked to the Alice in Chains at some point, or they did something, because I don't know how they got away with that, because it's so on the nose.
Yeah.
That like if you've picked up, go pick up a copy of Dirt, or just like if you have it, like pick it up and look at it, look around, look at the booklet, whatever, the vinyl or whatever
I think
you have.
it's on the back even.
I think it's on the back, and you see the G with the Godsmack thing, and it's
Yeah.
like that's the thing Godsmack used as their logo.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of
That's
funny.
really funny, yeah. This song,
A much
by the
inferior
way,
band.
yeah, comparatively. This song has that that pre-chorus that really shows the progression that they made into working with a lot of melody and harmony. You know, I don't even know how to describe it other than just to say like, what I've been saying is that it's extremely well structured. You know, just the melody. Ba da 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 da, whatever it is, you know, is super nice, super cool, and then we go into the hidden track, which has been called a few different things, like you said, Dream Sequence, Iron Gland.
Check out the writers. Tom Araya.
Yeah, Tom Araya did the voice. The I am Iron Gland. That was him.
Oh yeah.
He's the only. Yeah, he did that. He did all the yells and stuff on this song, which is like, that's a pretty big whoa. Like
Yeah.
Tom Araya on an
From
Alice in
Slayer,
Chains
yeah.
album. Whoa, you know, that's not an expected one, certainly.
Yeah. It's like everything to feature him on the 43-second untitled track.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
and then the back end of this, the last 3 tracks I think are all pretty great.
Yeah.
Um,
Hate to Feel has that low melody to start, sets the tone. It kind of reels you in really slow. It's nice.
Angry Chair.
You completely just went over Hate to Feel.
I don't really have that much to say about it.
A lot of good drumming on this song, as there is with a lot of this stuff on here, but this song definitely has a lot of good drumming on here. The main chorus really follows that Alice in Chains. Like, there's 2 things going on, because there's that da na 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 da da da, and then there's Lane going, I can feel, just like that's something that that's like they like own that. You know, they own in the vote that just those quick little like dropouts and swooping back in
Vocals
to the main note. That song really does that quite well in the chorus. I don't know. I love this song. And then there's the guitar solo. Kind of gets away from the hard dirtiness of the tone a little bit. It's kind of one of those Jerry Cantrell solos that's doing a lot of weird atonal stuff on the whammy bar. He incorporates a lot into this one. Goes into the second to last track, Angry Chair, which really cool drum groove to start. By the way, you know, boom, get boom, boom, get boom, boom, boom. You know, that's
Oh yeah.
really. And then the atonal guitar, the atonal and clean riff coming in, and everything just kind of centering around this one idea. And then I like how it ends with the drum groove, just like it starts, and it just kind of fades like that.
Oh yeah.
I think that was kind of cool. I hadn't really anticipated it at first, but when it did, I was like, hey, that's interesting. You know, because it's just whatever is left of Jerry's guitar work, and then the drums just take it. Yeah, wonderful song. Good solo on this one as well. This is a pretty crazy, pretty cool Jerry Cantrell solo. And then it ends with Lane, probably one of Lane's biggest songs for his vocals, Wood.
Yeah, it's my second favorite Alice in Chains song of all
Really?
time. I mean, the bass riff on it's incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
and the way the drums come in, it's just,
the very all the cymbals, the ride and the bells on each one of the cymbals as it comes in, then it kind of rolls in. Very, very cool build up in there. The drums hang back, the guitars hang back, but it comes in and it just hits. And then the chorus, I remember the first thing that got me into Lane Staley was there was actually I knew that he was singing for Alice in Chains, and I knew the song "Man in the Box," but I didn't really know much more. I saw a video that was a song by Alice in Chains with isolated vocals. It was Wood.
Oh yeah.
So it got to the chorus, and I was like, "Whoa, this guy can go!" You know, like Wood is a great example of just pure power.
Well,
In a voice.
this is kind of one of the things that really helped Alice in Chains is there was a movie called Singles that was released in '93, heavily featuring Wood. They did a music video and they took like clips and stuff from the movie. So the music video for Wood's actually like stuff from the movie Singles that they didn't put in the movie. They worked it. I mean, it might have been intended to do it otherwise, to like do it as like on the side, but Singles really helped Alice in Chains. I mean, they were already huge, but it put them in a movie where it was the soundtrack was them, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Nirvana. I'm not sure Nirvana's on there. They were really stingy about letting their stuff be in stuff, but that's a whole nother thing. It's just interesting that this song was written about Alex Wood. He had died. He was Mother Love Bone. He wasn't Mother Love Bone, but he was the singer for Mother Love Bone, which is a very influential grunge band that kind of really inspired like Soundgarden and Alice in Chains. And he was a friend of Lane and Jerry's, and when he passed, they kind of wanted to honor him, and what a better way than in my opinion, their second best song. Like
the melody on this is so good.
Oh yeah.
One of the best Alice in Chains melodies in general.
Oh yeah.
Is just on this song. Lane's voice, don't even need to talk about it at this point. Woof.
Oh yeah, it's Dirt. It starts and it goes through, and you just
Dirt start to finish is just a great.
It's album. A great album. I can't put a blemish on it. I don't think there's that. Well, it's great, but it's like no. Check you checked all the boxes. You're great.
I wish it didn't distort in a couple of the songs in there.
Oh, you stingy, you mixer nerds.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. Did I say it's a bad album? No, I didn't. I didn't say it was a bad album. I'm just saying I noticed that one thing about it, and I wish it didn't do that. No, that's the way it was. Getting in the '90s, the loudness war starting, and it's just a whole thing, And then, we go to my favorite Alice in Chains album, period.
Yeah.
Jar of Flies.
I mean, mine might be Jar of Flies. I kind of go back and forth between Dirt and Jar of Flies depending on what mood I'm in. So, because Jar of Flies, I think I usually lean Jar of Flies, but if I'm going to go a little heavier, Dirt's where I'm going to go. But like Jar of Flies, holy shit. Look at this track list. Like
I can talk about this album for days. Okay, so I have to try and do this. My favorite song of Alice in Chains, I don't care what you say, what?
Enemy gave this a 4 out of 10. Fuck them. Like straight up fuck Enemy.
That's unbelievable. Yeah.
I mean, that's outrageous. Because like all the other ones, 4.5, B+, 4.5, them 4 out of 10, 4.5, B+.
Yeah.
I mean,
anyway, we'll get to that later. Jar of Flies starts with my favorite song by Alice in Chains, period. Rotten Apple.
That's your favorite Chains song?
Oh my god.
I mean, it's a great one.
Oh my god. That's not how it goes at all.
Well, no, it's...
Yeah, you did it completely wrong.
Well...
But, Rotten Apple, it starts with that bass line. This is bass player change.
Yeah.
Here, mic to mic.
Yeah, Mike started Mike Innes.
And, great bass player. Really cool introduction here with Rotten Apple. The bass line comes in. The guitars, Jerry Cantrell's doing his thing in the background. The talk box is on here as well, which Cantrell's done before. He did it on Man in the Box. The talk box comes in here, and it kind of builds and swells into this whole atonal idea. But then the main idea comes in, and it's so beautiful and tonal, but it hits so hard. Every time I hear it, I get chills. That's a chill moment for me. Is getting to that section. I mean, because oh man, it's so good. It's such a beautiful moment when everything kicks in and when everything comes together. And of course, the subject matter is really like depressing. This is one of those AIC songs that's got a lot of depressing subject matter in it. Let me look at the lyrics here real quick. Because it's about, there's a lot of songs about Lane struggling with like God and faith and whatnot, where he's talking to him a lot. That was on that's a couple songs like that. But this one, innocence is over, ignorance is spoken, confidence is broken, sustenance is stolen, arrogance is potent. Woof.
Yeah.
What I see is unreal. I've written my own part. Eat of the apple so young, I'm crawling back to start. This song is hard hitting in its own special kind of way, but instrumentation wise, it's so perfect. It's light and laid back, and then it swells in the middle. Bass line's going nuts on this song. Just tonally, the album is so nice. Creepy harmonies are really they come in more, I think, on this album than they did the other ones before. They get more of that as the discography, I think, of Alice in Chains goes along, and this song really showcases a lot of that.
Yeah.
With just the whole idea of what's going on with the main and the what I see is unreal. A lot of dissonance in there, but not even dissonance, but just minor and diminished harmonies. A lot of places in this album, which this song, my favorite one, transitions into Nutshell. Probably some say one of the most depressing songs ever written.
It's my favorite Alice in Chains song.
This is your favorite?
This is my number one.
That's fair.
It's in my top 5 songs ever. I'm just going to read the lyrics for both verses here. So, it's, we chase misprinted lies, we face the path of time, and yet I fight this battle all alone. No one to cry to, no place to call home. So that hits you. Yeah. And then the second one, which I think this is the greatest verse ever written. My gift of self is raped. My privacy is raped. And yet I find, repeating in my head, if I can't be my own, I'd feel better dead.
Yeah.
That
is one of the best lyrics ever written. That's a fair assumption right there.
That's something I know I struggle with that kind of thing sometimes, and it's one of those things you read that and it's fuck. Or you hear the song, and I think the atmosphere of the song's so perfect because they spend the first almost minute building the atmosphere.
Just playing the chorus.
It's just...
And then the drums come in, and Sean Kinney, another example of just great drumming, really laid back, versatile, just kind of light drumming. Nothing crazy on this one.
Jerry goes nuts, though.
Yeah, he does at the end.
Jerry's solo is so good.
Yeah.
Because it's so impactful, I think, and it just cuts through everything.
Jerry...
It's a vulnerable solo, too, because you can kind of feel his emotion. It's kind of it kind of starts simple, and then it gets erratic.
Yeah.
And it's kind of
sporadic. It's like the feeling of emotion.
Yeah. It's losing
really
control and stuff. And that's why for me, I'm
Lane's vocals are light on this song. They kind of they take a very just nice, light touch to them. Not a lot of big, powerful stuff. And Lane has a nice low voice. He has a nice just range of vocals. Keeps it low in this one a little bit, and it's so...
And what's
so pleasant.
What's really interesting is the chorus on here. Both choruses are just ooh. It's not the most complex writing, but it really sets an atmosphere that hits you, and you can feel pain in him when he's going ooh.
Yeah.
It's just. It's kind of obviously I'm not going to say this isn't one of those uplifting, happy, you're not going to be walking with a puppy down the street with a smile on your face, but it's one of the most real things because, these are, it's big things. It's very challenging. It's, Nutshell, holy shit.
Yeah.
Listen to that. If I was going to tell you to listen to any Alice in Chains track, Nutshell's the one I'm suggesting to everybody first. And then after you listen to that, go listen to Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles. You'll feel really happy.
We go to I Stay Away.
I Stay Away is a great track.
This is my buddy Tim's favorite song because
It's
he
one of my
likes the interlude, the Why You Act Crazy.
Oh no. Which and what I Stay Away what
I'm talking about is what I was just saying is the Why You Act Crazy. There's all the Why You Act Crazy, but like all those inner harmonies in there that are going on, just has it's so dissonant, but it holds it together so well, and it's kind of hard to like understand what's all going on in there. But like the light, airy sort of movement that I don't even know how to describe. It's very free moving.
Oh
and
yeah,
that's what makes it so interesting. And the guitar work in that, it's befitting. And then Lane, one of my favorite Lane Staley high notes is in this, the chorus, which, by the way, little string section in this song.
Oh yeah,
really, really fits in quite well. And the I Stay Away at the very end, you can hear Lane sort of distorts the mic a little bit because he just does I Stay Away, and it really it blows it out like just a little tiny bit. Well, yeah, this song is like a lot of big artists back in the day really talked about this song. This was like a big...
I Stay Away.
This is a big song of talk. And understandable, too. I mean, my God. It's so good. It's so creepy. This is like one of the big examples of creepiness in Alice in Chains
music
songs.
Video for it. Have you ever seen the music video?
I think so, yeah.
It's a claymation. It's like a circus kind of thing, and then there's like... When it goes from the light parts to the heavy, it goes from being like innocence to then all of a sudden the innocence lashes out, and you see like what the lion kills the lion tamer, and the one guy misses and hits the lady with a knife, and all these things that can go bad. It's kind of cool.
Into No Excuses.
No Excuses is great. It's such a different song for him, but it works.
Awesome drum part in the beginning. Oh, yeah. That little drum groove that starts it. And then it comes in with all the guitars that, again, are very light, very kind of to the side. They're not getting in the way. Bass line, simple, but just good. And then the Jerry and Lane take it in that chorus, and it's just so full. It's such a full chorus musically, and it just has a lot of depth to it.
Fun fact, I Stay Away, I looked it up here, going back to that track. It had actually been nominated for Best Rock Song.
Yeah.
But it lost to Black Hole Sun, which is unfortunate. Well, that's a great song, too, don't get me wrong. I just think Alice in Chains never won a Grammy, and I think that's a shame.
Sucks.
But then again, there's tons of great people. I mean... 67, the Beatles didn't win for Sgt. Pepper, so if that doesn't win, nothing deserves to ever win Grammy.
Right. But yeah, No Excuses. This. If we change, well, I love you anyway. This is kind of Lane being like, "Hey Jerry, you're fucked up too, man. Like you're my bud, but you too. It's kind of like I kind of like envision him like always looking at Jerry. He's like, well, I love you anyway. Like, hey, take the hint, Again, a little more dark, this song, comparatively, but it's so nice. Whale and Wasp, the instrumental with the little incorporation of the string section in there, that cello, there's a little cello solo in there.
Yeah.
This one, this is a transitional song, but I like it because it fits in. Like, it's a very sort of it's a kind of a sad melody and harmony in there, the guitar duet that's going on. But I like this song. It grew on me more over time. At first, I was kind of like, all right, it's a transitional song. It's in there. I kind of forgot about it the first time I heard it, but now I like it as a transitional song, as a little instrumental track in there.
Yeah. The next track, it kind of, because it goes from No Excuses into Don't Follow, I think
No Excuses, then Whale and Wasp.
Well, yeah,
then
no,
Don't
I'm
Follow.
saying Whale and Wasp is the thing that transitions it
Yeah.
from No Excuses to Don't Follow, and I think Don't Follow is it's a really nice track. It's a kind of light acoustic, kind of airy.
It starts out light acoustic, and then it's funny because it goes into it and it kind of keeps up, but then the harmonica solos coming in the whole time. It's doing all that stuff. Again, a big Lane distorts the microphone with that. I'm scared to death, the reason why. We have very, very cool. A lot of good harmonies in this. Lane beefs up a little bit on this song comparatively to some of the others on this album, but it ends with that, Take Me Home, and the harmonica going in the background, which is like, at first I was kind of like, I wonder how I feel about that, but like now I like it. It's so charming in its own way, and it's so fun. It kind of gets a little more of the southerny vibe in there. Or speaking of which, then we end.
Home.
Yeah, it starts with that. Yeah, but then we end with very kind of, I didn't know how to feel about it first. We end on Swing on This. This album.
I like Swing on This.
I do too.
I
do
like
too.
it because it's just like this weird like lounge house jazz song, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden,
Yeah, let me be. I'm alright. The transition in there, but doesn't it fit so
Yeah.
freaking well? I
Yeah.
mean, Alice in Chains is like the only band that can make that combination of things work that well.
like it's funny because the one part like Frank Sinatra could have sang on like this song, like it
It's funny
almost
because
like
despite all it's doing, it's still Alice in Chains.
It is,
like
like,
it's still the bass line is nice on this song. Mike's doing a great job. Yeah, and then it kind of ends with this whole theme of like, I don't even know. Jerry Cantrell ends with a nice little guitar solo, but the whole theme of it, even just like now he's coming home. And that's funny because it's Don't Follow Stress, or which I think it was that one that was hey, I never coming home. I was like, now I gotta go home, So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of a strange thing. It's almost like a concept album in its own kind of way. You know what I mean? I explained this to my friend one time. Just the progression of songs really kind of sounds like a thought process about what's going on and then leaving everything behind. But then I Swing on This, it's coming back.
yeah. I just remembered and I realized it, but we had technically skipped What the Hell Have I, which was on Last Action Hero from '93. I don't know if you ever heard that track.
No,
It's
I don't
actually
think
good.
So. I think I've heard that track, but just one more thing before we do that. This EP, I think, was Jar of Flies was was it like the first EP to
hit number one.
hit number one? Yeah. It
Yeah.
was the first EP to hit number one in the charts. That's a big move. That's a
Yeah.
huge thing. But like, what a deserving album.
Yeah.
Start to finish. This album, it's only 31 minutes long, which is sometimes kind of nice because like you can get out of it and you can still have time to do stuff. But like sometimes I sit there and I'm like, man, I wish it was like 20 songs longer.
If you say like, oh, you keep that vibe, you keep that thing, where is it gonna go? I had heard Jar of Flies was never intended to be recorded. Like they were in the studio
Can't
messing
imagine.
around with stuff, and they just were messing with some acoustic things. And I guess from what I gathered, the I Stay Away was Jerry was just playing that on the acoustic, and somebody said, well, hit the record button. Jerry's like, what? Like, he had no idea what was going on. And they recorded the initial acoustic track for that, supposedly is from, like, Jerry didn't know he was being recorded.
Where did you hear that?
I had read, like, an article. It was, like, 10 facts you didn't know about Jar of Flies.
Yeah. God,
I could try
I
to
can't
find
imagine this album not existing because it's so good.
Oh, yeah.
Start to finish, for me, it's perfect. There's not like a song I'd change on it. There's not a thing I'd take out of it. There's not a note I wouldn't have played on it. It holds my favorite song, Rotten Apple, that when I sit down to listen to this album, I just, instant chills. Rotten Apple starts off. This album overall is just so good. It's so different, but it's so strong in its own way, and its songwriting and its lyricism, it's so good. It's so good. It'll always be my favorite Alice in Chains.
All right.
And then, we get to the, I don't even know.
Self-titled.
Yeah, we get to self-titled three-legged dog that I called the weird one.
The weird
for a
one.
while there.
I think it's Mike's favorite. Mike Madison,
our buddy. Yeah,
our boy Mike. I think it is
right. So
it's so different than the rest of their stuff. Which is interesting because it makes you wonder, like, where are they going? Where's this gonna take us?
Well, we were talking about creepy harmonies and how there's been more of them. This album is
has all
littered with dissonant. Creepy
grind.
harmonies.
Jing 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 jing. That's grind, right?
Bum bum ba da dun dun da dun dun da. Ow ow. Yeah. I don't even know. Like, it's kind of funny because this album with the three-legged dog on the front. But a lot of people thought it was Jerry's dog that was used in one of the music videos, but it actually was not. It was they auditioned dogs and had like photo shoots, and then someone sent them a fax of a picture of a three-legged dog, and they were like, "Yo, we're keeping that." And of course the guys who took all the pictures, they were like, "Really? Like you're keeping that one?" And
it was a very lo-fi, but it works.
Well, the thing is that it's lo-fi with the black and white, and it's just this really strange image, but it really sets the tone for the album.
Oh my god! Yeah.
You ever notice how like you associate the cover of an album and the color on the album with the color of the music and how it sounds? This fits super well.
Oh yeah, you look at that cover and then you hear the songs that are on this.
Just this really weird, just this low down dog, just kind of looking at him, looking at the screen. It's so good. It's a cool album cover. I have the original vinyl of it that I've never played, never will play. You can't play that because you can find one of those in good condition. It starts off with Grind, which was one of the songs. Actually, this album has a couple really popular songs on it that like you heard on the radio a bit back in the day that I
Grind,
recognized anyway.
Heaven Beside You definitely heard on the radio.
Grind starts off the album again. It kind of throws you right into the fray with that guitar riff and Jerry Cantrell. Sets the tone for the bendy wah.
Yeah, the bendy
wah. Very sort of. I don't even know what to call Jerry's style.
It's Jerry.
On this,
it's gerrymandering. He's gerrymandering all.
It's very it doesn't have a lot of highs to it, and like it's got this very like smooth kind of. I don't even know what to call it. Like a legato kind of sound going on, but Grind has a wonderful harmony in the beginning or in the chorus. And it's a pretty heavy riff too.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, it's pretty dun 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 bum bum bum.
I mean, a lot of people would say that this album really helped influence like sludge metal and doom metal,
I can see
a
that,
lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, when I think of like, if you hear the word grunge, what does it sound like? It sounds like this album. Like,
there's a lot of experimental stuff on Grind. You can hear in the it's just in the harmony, but like it's a see-through show. It does this very like filtered, the very filtered voice, which they do a lot in there. There's a talk box a couple times on this album.
Mm-hmm.
Grind is a great opening track. Jerry kind of goes nuts in that solo a little bit. It's really, I think it's one of his coolest solos. It's very metal. It's actually a very metal guitar solo. Just in like all the weird bending stuff that it does, and at the very end with the whammy, the wow, and it fades out. But it's super cool. Very, again, this is there's some experimental stuff on here, and it's clear that they're all trying to do something here. Sean Kinney, I like what he does with the drums in this one. Without he goes to the crash, but he doesn't hit the kick with it, which most drummers do. They hit the crash with the kick. He just boom boom and that's like its own thing. Really sets the mood very well. Brush Away, the second song on this album, starts with that cool little clean riff, but slowly kind of keeps this mellow. mellow, slow song going on, you know, that brush away loose ground. What a day. Very cool. Yeah, I don't really know what all to say about it because it's such a cool song. There's a lot of songs that have a lot of similarities in the way they sound and the way they're structured, but they're all separate but equal in their own kind of way. Yeah, Brush Away is a good transitional song in here. I like it. It's not a transitional song. I don't want to make it sound like that. But,
no, it's a good song. I mean, my problem with this album, and I know this sounds weird. My problem with this album, I think this album's a great album. It's just my problem with this album is like landmark, staple Alice in Chains tracks. If we're taking, you know, the top so much chunk of Alice in Chains, I mean, we're really probably gonna be salvaging Grind, Heaven Beside You, and Again for mainstream people. That'd be like the only tracks on it that people I've heard regularly, but I like. Yes. I mean, I love Sludge Factory, which is the next one on here.
Sludge. Again, this is one of those really. This is 7 minutes 13 seconds long. There's a long song, but it starts off again. It's got this very dissonant riff kind of starting. I don't know, it's not even really all that dissonant, but when it comes into it, the dynamics really kind of come down. Let the vocals come through a little bit. You know, it's very. I don't know. The guitars aren't always like terribly busy on this album. They're a lot slower. This is a good song to do that because he lets that ring and just that little chug chug chum. Lets it drone, but it's come back and the dynamics. Like the dynamics come back a little bit, and they're kind of all over the place. Yeah, this is a cool song. And then at the very end, you have that thing that this album is really known for, which is like all of the like slapback delayed stuff with Lane talking and like just saying stuff as the drums and bass are kind of keeping up the main idea, but the guitar really kind of goes around and starts doing all these random kind of things, which is like something that Lane's been known to do. It's just like a solo or two going on at once, and a lot of experimental guitar playing on here. It's not tonal always, it's not clean and perfect, but it fits. And it goes into, it's funny because it goes into then Heaven Beside You, which I think was about Jerry's ex-girlfriend that he cheated on.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Wow. I mean, I think Heaven Beside You is a great track. I mean, it really...
Jerry Cantrell sings this one as well.
Yeah. It gives a different sense of duality, because a lot of times kind of the grunge ideas, it's soft, loud, kind of playing off that. This plays in a different way because it's Jerry, and then Lane comes in to bring different elements and stuff.
And when he comes in, when Lane comes in singing backups, you can tell. But oh man, does he add something extra to that? And then the song is a very dark, kind of depressing, sad song. Not the most depressing one they have, but it is very sad. And then there's some of the heavier parts in there where it kind of comes away after Jerry takes the interlude. So there's problems in your life,
Yeah,
and they're out of your mind. And it hits him with the really distorted guitars, and Jerry kind of does some crazy stuff in that guitar solo. Yeah, this is an awesome song. Because it's got a good balance of like just being a light acoustic song that you could play, but it also holds that kind of breakdowny sort of distorted sections that really complement the rest of the song. And we transition into Head Creeps. Cool groove by Sean Kinney on this one. Drums are grooving the whole time. This has the distorted vocals on this one. One of the vocal tracks is very clearly heavily like filtered and distorted, which was an experimental thing kind of for them. On this album, which is what it's known for a lot of, but this song really brings that out quite a bit. It's almost 6.5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's one of the longer tracks. But again,
yeah,
awesome. At the very end of the song I like as well, with the rising harmonies, and then it all comes in, and then I think it ends this one. Yeah, it just kind of ends with just pure chaos.
Oh, yeah.
You know, head creeps. It just like the guitars are just slowing down, the drums are just getting a lot slower, and then it kind of just falls apart and fades away, which is really cool and does so well. And then the song again, which is one of the shorter songs of the album, kind of so 4 minutes.
Yeah, it's one of the shorter songs at 4 minutes. No, it's just funny. This album was kind of bold with a lot of longer tracks,
Yeah.
which I think is a good thing, because I mean it's easy to fall into that trap of everything should be 3.5 minutes. You know?
Yeah.
And then it goes into what? It goes into Shame.
Well, now hang on, jeez, you love jumping tracks, man. Again, come on, dude. It's a great song. It's
Oh, it
a
is a
fun
great
song. The what's called the telephone effect in this song, Lane in the right channel, he's playing the part of me again and again. You know, it's very lo-fi sort of sounding, which was big. Heavy riff to the middle section. Ooh, do do. Yeah, there's all this cool stuff going on in there. It's funny when they do that live, they do it perfectly too. I don't know how they pull it off. Again, some experimental stuff in there. This one's more of the, dare I say, straightforward songs on the album, if you know what I mean. You know, and then it comes into, oh god, I dare say, this is like one of, if not my favorite song on the album, "Shamin' You."
Yeah.
Oh, it's 5.5 minutes, but it's just so, you know, it's slow. It's really sad. It's the vocals have this huge harmony to fill out all the space in there. And it's a perfect.
I think it's fair to say at this
song.
point that Alice in Chains is not known for being a happy bubblegum pop band. You know?
Yeah.
You know, no, they live around in the sadder aspects of the emotional region, but you know, you gotta express a lot of different feelings.
Yeah.
You know,
Beautiful melody and harmonies on this song. Really works well. The harmonies on this song in particular are very full, like I said, musically very full. The very end of it kind of fades out on the music a little bit and ends on this very sort of like is a nice resolution when it comes to the end. It just kind of fades into it, and it goes into "Goddamn," which is another big Lane, kind of one of the bigger Lane like power songs on this album. You know, especially live. If you've seen him do it live, he does a lot of the higher stuff by himself. You know, this is a big struggle with like talking to God, and this is a big moment for him. This is kind of a vulnerable thing where he's like struggling with his faith, I think, a little bit, especially dealing with the drugs and whatnot. You know, so at the beginning of the song, for Christ's sake, he's lighting up. You know,
yeah.
You remember in the beginning, he's just like smoking a bong. I think you can hear him like, you know, lighting something. Again, this is a fairly short song. It's 4 minutes. It's about 4 minutes long. But, you know, really cool guitar work on this one. The higher stuff going on in there that kind of fits into the background a little bit, that isn't like as projected forward in the right channel. I think it is a lot. It's awesome. Clever wordplay as well. Goddamn.
Yeah.
You know. That was pretty clever. So Close is a good too. Probably, the shortest song of the album, 2 minutes 46 seconds long. That's all it is. That's all it needs to be. In the beginning of the song there, I forget what Sean said. I think it's like I think he says "big money." Then they start the song, so it's a little goof moment, kind of, but it's funny. It's a fun. It's something you kind of have to expect on Alice in Chains at some point, because Junkhead has at the beginning goes junk fuck and then starts it. You know, this one's got big money and cool arpeggiated line in there. This has that Alice in Chains, like I said, that floaty kind of why do it again? You know, like it's not as as a big thing Alice in Chains is known for is not having linear harmonies and linear melodies. You know, they float and they kind of do like they're kind of like waving around a bit. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
But like that's what they're doing a lot of, and it's really cool. This is a good song. What do you feel about it?
What's the one we're just talking about, or
Talk about So Close, yeah.
Oh, So Close. No, it's a really good song. I don't have a lot to say.
And it goes into Nothing Song, which kind of a clever little song. Nothing song sticks to the mouth like peanut butter in the brain. It's one of my favorite AIC lines for its own sort of thing. This is it's 5 minutes 41 seconds, but it's got that low down sort of chill feel.
Yeah.
In this one, it's kind of slower, dark. Once again, very dark, but it's the experimental like guitar line that. It's,
yeah.
That's a super cool effect.
This is a
whatever he's going on
crazy
there.
album. Like they went bolder.
Yeah. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
In its own sort of way. Yeah. Yeah, this song has a really nice harmony melody to it. The drums are hanging on this cool little groove in there. Jerry, as usual with this album, is doing a lot of weird stuff quite often on this song. He's kind of going all over the place. Which goes into Frogs. Now,
That's a crazy draw. That's a crazy song.
I've heard someone say that Frogs is one of the most depressing songs ever written.
Yeah.
Because it's just 8 minutes of just depressing, like, pain.
Yeah.
And I understand the beginning, I mean, you know, the introduction, just that. It starts slow and low down. It doesn't really have a whole lot.
That was my
gentle ride cymbal. It's like, whoa, you know, it's this very, like, eerie vibe. This is an eerie as fuck song.
This was my introduction to this album because I remember Mike, because I had only really ever heard like, I mean at this point in my life I really had only listened to Facelift and Dirt stuff. I've only heard stuff off there, and then all of a sudden I remember it was business class and Mike had said check Frogs out. And I looked Frogs up, and I'm like, okay, it's a song called Frogs, and it's 8 minutes and 20 seconds long.
By Alice in Chains on an album with just a dog with 3 legs on the cover. Like, what combination could possibly happen? You kind of have low expectations going into it. I think at first you're like, man, this is just going to be one of those weird, just like, forgettable songs. But like when you really sit down and you focus on it, that melody and then that it's so nice. It's its own little thing. It kind of carries it away because most of the time that's something that you expect to be done more or less on like the guitar, but the vocals take it and do this whole nice thing with it. It's so good in that, you know, just pretty simple chorus. Why does it have to be this way? You know, again, just depressing. And then the whole end is the telephone effect kind of going on with Lane just talking and telling like a story. Like, do you remember the end of that song? See if I can find it, because it's really interesting. It's 2 people talking on the side, and they kind of come together towards the end. As the instrumentation, it's the outros. It's 7 a.m. on a Tuesday in August. Next week I'll be 28. I'm still young. It'll be me. Off the wall I scraped you. I gotta wake. It comes this way. I can't wait no more. It comes this way. Like he's just talking, you know. And with no real rhythmic aspect. He's just talking in like a normal sort of
way.
He doesn't know weird sort of timing that doesn't really fit the song exactly. And then towards the end, he does that the 12-string bend that Jerry does the end there with that. You know, it really kind of, because the 2 strings don't hit the same time. I think so. It distorts it. It's a very strange effect that's going on with it, and the whole Lane talking just for the whole outro as the bass and drums keep doing their thing. And the guitar just juts in every now and again. It's just like, you know, because at one point this word was just doing that, and all of a sudden Jerry's just, you know, it's kind of random. and it's so cool.
It is cool. Yeah,
It's a great song. When you really have to, I guess I'll save that point for later. Because the last song is, again, this is like a fight for my favorite. Is Over Now.
Yeah, it's a great one.
7 minutes. It starts with that old like vinyl lo-fi crackling trumpet intro, which I think is
I think it's the guy who's on the back cover, isn't it? Or
no, that was some. He was playing ukulele. The guy on the back was
yeah,
playing
a ukulele. No, there's a thing in the liner notes. If you flip through the booklet thing, there's a thing with the trumpet guy or whatever.
Yeah, I don't remember what all that was. But yeah, it's kind of weird because then it kind of has nothing to do with the rest of the song. A little bit.
Let's see.
From what I know, but no. So it goes to the end. Over Now happens, and it's you're hitting the pretty standard stuff for this album. It's got a groove going, very low, kind of grainy guitars, and then the chorus happens out of nowhere. To me, it's kind of out of place a little bit. I don't know, not out of place, but like the transition is just so unexpected. We pay our debts on time with that. Well, it doesn't do it the first time. It does it with just the. It's just the low. It's just the lead guitar just kind of hanging on the melody in the background. But then it comes in later into the big transition with the acoustic guitars doing the arpeggios,
Oh yeah, it's great. Oh.
And that's like, that's a big moment because that's kind of where you kind of get chills a little bit because then it's just this whole like big spacious fill of acoustic guitars that's like all doing something different. It's on this beautiful melody that's going on, and it ends after the vocals cut out. It's just hanging on those acoustic guitars for a while, for like the last minute and a half. It does that that like half step that's going on in there, or whatever interval it is. As Jerry's doing some, he finishes this guitar solo, which again, strange, out of place, like not a whole lot of timing on it. But it really fits this creepy vibe that, again, it's like kind of experimental in its own sort of way. And then everything slows down, the drums slow down, and the instruments drone on one, and they like stay there for 2 measures. And then just ends with Jerry doing that, when and it, it just kind of holds and it fades out on this note that he keeps bending up. And what a way to end an album, because like it's tonally set in the most distinguishable lo-fi sort of way. I don't know how to describe it because the album's not lo-fi in a sense, but like the guitars have a lot of.
I might argue that it is lo-fi.
It's got a lot of.
It's not inherently lo-fi. It goes for it in like ways, but it's not like lo-fi the genre, not lo-fi the technical thing. You know what I mean? Black Keys lo-fi, like where it's not. And that's one of those things where lo-fi's become a genre, like a subgenre, so it's so hard to even talk about it because it's it's a thing, but it's not always used the way it really is. So now it's a popular term that you could use it that way, and it kind of is. So I could say it is lo-fi, but it's not necessarily lo-fi.
Yeah.
It's got those weird like...
It's the guitar tone that really does it for me on this album because it's so strange in how it doesn't have a lot of like forwarded like highs and mids where it stops. It's very bassy and has a very bassy sort of like, what do I call it, like rolled off tone sort of sound, so it's kind of muddy. And that's what I love about it. It fits so well. This whole album has a lot of that in there, but overall, the album, I think you can describe it best with everything is it's very relaxed. Like, again, is upbeat. Goddamn is kind of upbeat, so close is a little more upbeat and grind, but everything else is this is a chill album that I like to call it. It's like something you can put on and like you can definitely see like a stoner in the 90s in the room like with this on just kicking back, you know, with like a leg up in the air and just going, oh yeah. You know, just sitting back and just hanging on this really one of their strangest, probably their strangest album, actually. Experimental, a lot of very atonal stuff, a lot of very strange tonalities and things going on in the instrumentation. But as my friend Tim pointed out, the instrumentation on this album is one of their best.
Oh yeah,
no way. Just
they
structurally
reinvented themselves.
Structurally,
I mean,
this is the
it's
most
crazy.
different Alice in Chains album.
Yeah,
because it doesn't hold as much of their older style.
Yeah,
And
it's like they threw it in.
it's the most unique.
It's like
It's
it's their
so
most
hard to say. Like unique is the word that comes to mind. You could argue that,
but like Jar of Flies is such its own thing
I
too.
know,
It's like,
it's
oh,
like,
what are you doing?
oh, God.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know, man. This album is perfect start to finish
Oh.
in its own way.
oh yeah, no,
So the thing is, I think you need about 3 listens of this album
Oh,
to
yeah.
like really start to appreciate it. Unless you're already in the mindset, in which case by all means. But
yeah,
I think at first glance, this album, most people who know the other stuff, if you're listening in chronological order, are gonna go, "Yo, what the hell is this?" You know, like if you, I don't think you should start with this. Like if you're gonna listen to Alice in Chains, this probably is an album you should start with as a whole. You should probably start with We Die Young or Dirt. But once you've gotten into the band as a whole, this album is really underrated.
oh yeah.
It is super good and is now like one of my favorite albums by them and just in general, because it's just so it's so good. I don't even know what else to say about it. It's so chill. Not a lot of big power notes from Lane on this one. It's very laid
It's more
back,
laid back,
but you
yeah.
couldn't do that. Like Love Hate Love couldn't be on this album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's no room for this huge belt that Lane has that he can do. There's just no room for it on this album. You know, I mean, there's some powerful stuff, and like I said, Goddamn Live, he powers it up a pretty good amount. But as a whole, this album's extremely different, and it's its own thing. It really is its own monster.
Oh yeah.
And I love it.
I think the
think it's
biggest
great.
shame is it's the last studio album they did with
Mm-hmm.
Lane. It's technically not the last thing they did do with Lane,
Yeah.
and I do want to at least touch on the other things.
Right.
So yeah, this is the end of their albums, but the following year, so that self-titled was 1995.
Yeah, that was 95.
96 they do MTV Unplugged,
Right.
which I think it's an incredible performance. I think it's so interesting because Lane, you can already start to see, is kind of a shell of his former self
A
at
little
this
bit.
point.
You can tell the drugs have gotten
have
up, but like
gotten to him.
he's still the thing about him.
He
is
still does it. He's
He's still into the music. You can see he's still into the music. He still holds true to it, and he's still got his voice.
and
you
he
know?
also
he's
says
still
like
got great control.
it's interesting because there's also stuff like while during the performance there's multiple times where he's like, I just wanted to thank you guys for being here. You could tell that like the fans meant that much to him, and like everything,
Yeah,
like
they meant something to him. That's good.
like he had a real connection, and he was like, you know, I'm sharing my pain with you, and I'm glad that you can kind of find solace. You can kind of like, I don't know how to put it. It's
don't
just
know,
kind of
yeah.
crazy. It's a really great album, and I like some of the cuts on here. I mean, Nutshell's my favorite song, so anytime I can hear that.
Starts with Nutshell too.
Yeah. And then it goes into Brother. No Excuses, Sludge Factory, which that's a bold ass song to do acoustic. Down in a Hole, which is perfect for an acoustic setting.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Angry Chair,
Cool choice.
Rooster, which is a
good.
cool one to see done acoustic. Got Me Wrong, Heaven Beside You. Wood is a cool one to see done acoustic. Frogs acoustic.
Frogs. Woof. You know, Frogs, Over Now, one of my
Over Now's
favorites.
great, and
One
then
of
The
my
Killer
favorites.
Is Me, which is another
Yeah,
really
that's
cool
one
one
as
to
well,
see
yeah.
acoustic. So that's why it's really cool
Yeah.
to see some of these ones done acoustic. It's kind of different. It's kind of a different vibe off them.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely.
So I really think the MTV Unplugged is definitely a very solid entry.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the last studio recordings they did with Lane, where they did these 2 tracks in '99, I think they were trying to work on something, but it didn't go as well as they wanted to. But I thought these 2 tracks are great. Get Born Again. I don't know if you've heard that
song.
one.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah, I know.
really great. It's a really great one, and it actually opens up one of their best of albums, the Best of the Box. That one opens with "Get Born Again," and that's a really good. It's a really weird track because you could tell like they were still evolving from the Three-Legged Dog, and then they did another track called "Died," which it's another one. It really hits you because you can realize like Lane's even more far gone, and if you see some of the photos from this point, he looked like an Auschwitz victim. It's terrible.
Really?
Yeah, no, when Lane Staley died, he was like 125 pounds and he was 6'3". Yeah.
Was he 6'3"?
Yeah, he was a pretty tall dude, and he weighed next to nothing when he died. I'm pretty sure he was tall. He was on the taller side, but he was. I think he might have even been less than like 125 pounds. I mean, he might have been like 95 pounds or something.
That's
It
what
was
heroin does too, man.
really bad.
Yeah, no, heroin was an
Yeah.
awful fucking thing.
Yeah, it's a horrible thing.
God,
and-
it took him, and he just, God, so good. What a loss.
oh yeah.
What an extreme loss
Um,
of a fucking person. Lane Staley, oh my God.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
I think one of the saddest things about what happened with everything is like a lot of people kind of they knew he had problems and I don't know what happened, but I guess just nobody could help him.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lane, yeah, there was a lot going on with that.
But,
yeah, wow.
Yeah. They did a couple more live things that they had released throughout the years. They released one called Live in 2000.
good.
It's a really good live
Really
album.
good. Really good.
We got some really good stuff.
He still got it. You can still tell.
yeah.
He's still got it there. He's not giving up.
They released a Music Bank box set, which has some really cool stuff. I actually have it.
Yeah,
it's
I wanted to
cool.
borrow from it for a while because I love that.
So it's got some really cool stuff on it. They released a live facelift, which was a cool thing. It was kind of like I think it was a VHS they did. Anyway, live facelift. It was stuff from Facelift Live, so that's cool. I think I said earlier there was a EP that they released before Facelift, We Die Young EP, which actually featured Killing Yourself, which is a rare track from them because they never released it on CD. Let's see. I mean, going through really the Lane era, I think that really tackles just about everything.
Yeah.
They were a really great band. They were very influential. They were huge in the 90s. I think they really impacted, if you look. I always get into this argument because I consider them a lot of things. I'm like, they're a rock band, they're a grunge band, they're a metal band. Like, I consider them metal.
I think at first they thought they were metal.
Yeah, I think at
they called
first-
themselves metal.
And it's so funny that, like, for me, I'm like, oh, Alice in Chains is a metal band. And I hear people like, oh, they're not a metal band. It's like, really? Like, what? Are you sure about that?
We Die Young.
Yeah. And then you get into even some of their new stuff. Not to go too in depth in it, but Black Gives Way to Blue I thought was a great album. I mean,
Yeah,
I
when
still
they
really
got back
like what
together.
they're doing.
But the thing is that, and I know I'm a broken record. Later, Black is Way to Blue Onward will never be anything that Alice in Chains was, but it has its qualities that still make it an enjoyable listen. Black is Way to Blue, the album, and I don't want to go too much into this era, but like, 'cause we could probably do a separate one on that even another time. But and they came back in 2009. Some stuff like A Lookin' in View, It's really cool, kind of old school, but like the song itself, "Black Gives Way to Blue," is so fucking sad.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not even funny. And I think
Well, check my brain's grade.
who played piano on that? Hang on, I think it was Elton John actually. I don't remember.
Yeah, Elton John, piano
Yeah.
on Black Gives Way to
Yep,
Blue.
yep,
yeah.
Yep. Okay. Sad as fucking shit song. William Duvall comes in. I don't know how much he was doing with other bands beforehand, but he did really well on his album. He stepped into the biggest shoes
Yeah.
you could possibly have had to fill from the death of a musician next to, like, I don't know, maybe Cliff Burton.
Yeah.
I mean, popdose.com reviewed Black Gives Way to Blue, and they talked about it was the newest victim of the loudness war, heavy distortion. Because if you look at the WAV files, it's it's just ridiculous. That was probably one of the loudest albums at the time, and then I guess these people didn't really hear much of Death Magnetic. So,
Oh, Death Magnetic. I really like Devil Put Dinosaurs here when we, moving on to that one. I love the opening track. Hollow is one of my favorite Alice in
played that at my
Chains
show.
songs. I mean, that riff is fucking epic.
yeah,
How do you...
very super heavy riff, really good song, really good heavy metal song.
That one, and it gets stuck in my head a lot, and I'm like, wait a minute, what song is that? It's like... The music video is really crazy for that one, too, if you want to check out something a little interesting.
I went nuts for that song when they played it at my show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Stone is great on that one. I like Voices. I like the song Devil Put Dinosaurs here. I thought that was a really good track.
Yeah, Choke is good.
I mean, I like a lot of this. Phantom Limb.
Well-placed harmonies that complement the chords and the structure of the song going on, which Alice in Chains is known for, and they've just done it again, never disappoint.
Yeah, I mean, I really think it's a really good one, too. And then they last year, they released
Rainier
Fog.
Out of nowhere, all of a sudden, the one I remember seeing it. It was like some music video. It was Alice in Chains. I was like, oh, I'll probably see that. I was like, the one I was like, what is this? I clicked on it. It said 2018. I was like, oh my God, it's a new song. Yeah.
Oh, it was really good. I was really psyched.
Good.
Yeah, that one got me pumped.
Super psyched. Got nominated for Grammy, yeah?
This album should have won, but instead they gave it to Greta Van Fleet, who I guess they just were like, well, Led Zeppelin never won a Grammy, so let's give it to Greta Van Fleet.
Let's give it to Led Zeppelin.
Let's give it to Led Zeppelin.
They were like, oh, wait.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
Alice
in Chains is one of the best bands to never get a Grammy. And then you go through the list and you're like, wait a minute, maybe the Grammys are just a joke, And they are.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
They never get it right. Yeah. I mean, Jethro Tull's the greatest metal band of all time.
Jethro Tull beat Metallica's And
Black
Justice
Album.
for All.
And Justice.
No, they beat Justice. Of all the albums, they beat Justice, one of the best ones. Anyway, Alice in Chains, unbelievable discography. There's so few blips in their discography of just like
I don't think there's
great
anything
songs.
bad. I mean, I couldn't say it. I think all their albums are at least worth the listen.
Definitely.
Their new era, how we kind of come off like the old stuff's the only stuff to listen to. No, I think their new stuff's still really great.
It's still really good. Yeah, no, you should try you should try all their albums, really. I am more partial to loving Facelift and Jar of Flies. I love Three-Legged Dog though. I still love Dirt. I love Sap. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I love Black Gives Way to Blue, Devil Put Dinosaurs here, Rain or Fog. I love all of it. It's all good. There's not a bad album I think they have. I think there's ones that aren't as good as others.
Yeah.
Even in earlier stuff, I think you can rank those and you could definitely say that.
Do we want to do a ranking of their albums?
No, I don't think we have to.
You don't think we have? I think we should. I'm going to push you. I'm going to make you choose children. Time to choose your child.
Nah, I don't
Jar
think
See, here's my problem. I could do it, but I know like I'd have to do it how I'm feeling right now, and I know like as soon as I say it, then tomorrow I'm gonna feel different. Like
That's the problem with it.
because you know
We
you
can say
could
whatever we
go
want now, but we're gonna think about it. We're gonna go, no, wait, I'd actually do this.
because you could easily go from. I mean, one order I would do one day would be like Jar of Flies, Dirt, Three-Legged Dog, Facelift, and then but then I love Facelift. That should be it's like
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
I think you can't go wrong picking either Facelift, Dirt, Jar of Flies, and the Three-Legged Dog. I feel like those are the top 4, and you can move them around however you want to.
Yeah,
really.
I don't know if Three-Legged Dog you really could say is better than Dirt or Facelift.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't know
know.
about that.
Yeah, but that's why
in
it's
its
like-
own way, it's creative as hell.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
experimental. It's different. It's worth a listen. But my top 3 in some order is Jar of Flies, Facelift, Dirt.
Yeah.
You know, maybe
I feel like
maybe
that's
in
like
that
the top
order.
tier,
That's
yeah.
my favorite, probably in order.
Jar of Flies,
But,
Facelift,
like,
Dirt, yeah.
As a favorite, I also really love Three-Legged Dog.
Yeah?
You know, just because of how different it is. And, like, don't get me wrong, Dirt's a great album. But,
Oh.
like, I know that it always gets, like, that's always the one where it's like, Alice in Chains? Of course, yes, Dirt.
Yeah.
You know, their only album, Dirt. It's like, no.
Yeah, I know, and that's
It's like,
the
no, they have
unfortunate
other,
thing.
you know, incredible albums as well.
That's why sometimes you feel like you have to talk the other ones up that much more. But then it's unfortunate because for somebody who's never heard Alice in Chains, it's like you've heard them, you just don't know that you heard them. Put Dirt
Yeah.
on, and you know Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
So that's why it's kind of challenging because I mean honestly, for somebody who's never listened to Alice in Chains, starting with the best of's never a bad place to start.
yeah.
A Facelift's a great place to start. Honestly, you can start
Honestly,
there and
I think
roll
you can
through.
do chronological order
Yeah.
and just let it happen. See the progression and just see what changes. Because it really is interesting to see the change when you go in order.
I don't know that like in that entire grunge era or hell, yeah, fuck it, I'll say it. In the '90s, I don't know that there's a band that can change from super heavy to incredible acoustic. Like they could do "We Die Young's" one of the heaviest songs I've ever heard in my life, and then "Nutshell" is not heavy at all, but
Yeah.
like lyrically heavy.
It's it's
Yeah.
depressing as hell. That's certainly one thing about it.
And that's the thing. Like the only other band from the '90s that I think that comes close for me, I put Alice in Chains as my favorite, and I think they're the best band of the '90s. In my opinion,
Yeah.
the only guys who come close
I'm
for
cool
me
with
is
that.
probably like, in terms of like fitting, like being able to do everything, having an incredible singer, having guys who can come up with all kinds of crazy stuff. I think Soundgarden comes somewhat close. I think Chris Cornell can belt it with the best of them.
Oh, well, of course you can, yeah.
And I think they also have landmark albums. You know, Super Unknown's a great album, and some other stuff. But I just always have to. I go with Alice in Chains because, to me, they're the best band of that decade. I mean, I think they're incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Alice in Chains is, like I said, there's not a bad album. There's rarely a bad song.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'm not even going to
I don't even know that I
what is a
could
bad
say there
song.
is a bad song. I can't pick out
just-
like skip that one.
Yeah.
You know, there might be one where I'm like, it's not quite as good as the other stuff. And sometimes if you're in a mood, you might be like, well, I guess maybe I'll skip it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
I've never had a skipping problem with this band. You know,
No,
like
no, me neither.
because there's some bands where you're hopping through it because you know, okay, I want to hear the 3 hits and get the hell out of here. Alice in Chains, like their underground stuff is still great. Like that's really crazy.
Yeah. 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 Band start to finish is great. It's just everything's worth a chance with them. Everything is worth a listen. Yeah. My favorite song will always be Rotten Apple. Favorite album will always be Jar of Flies. Don't care what they put out. Don't care what like underground stuff gets released that they've been hiding for all these years. Nothing for me beats Jar of Flies in experience and just
Yeah.
like being able to sit back and experience the album every time like you've heard it for the first time.
What if it came out that there was like all of these songs sitting around that were recorded for a session for an album that was supposed to come after Three-Legged Dog, and it's just been hidden or something? Lane hid it somewhere, and all of a sudden it just like it comes out, and you're like, holy shit! Like there would just be like
I would lose my shit. I'd be so pumped.
That'd be awesome because then we'd have more Lane.
Yeah,
You know, more Lane stuff. All right. Yeah, I mean,
he was a special singer.
Oh my god, yeah, he's insane. I think we kind of covered everything we need to talk about here.
Yeah, we got band members, we got albums, we got songs, we got favorites, we got new chains, old chains, live stuff. Heck, we even talked about music videos. I mean, I don't know how much more extensive you could get, except for the point and click game included in the music bank that I have.
Really?
Yeah, one of the discs you put it in, it's a point and click game.
Wow.
And you get to like investigate their album cover kind of stuff.
man.
It's kind of cheesy
That's awesome.
now because video game like point and click games are kind of dated because the genre's like gone.
I want it.
You're like,
I want it. I'd
point
play
and
it.
click adventure.
I'd play it. I don't care. I'll play it.
Yep.
Whatever. Yeah. I mean, yeah. If you got nothing else, I think we're pretty much good to go
we're
on.
solid.
I think we've rambled on enough. We're probably going.
Ramble on.
Going a while here. All right.
Stealing the Grammy from
All right.
Alice in Chains.
Well, yeah.
No, right.
All right. Well, yeah. I think we're gonna go after that. Thank you all for tuning in here, the Mountain Men podcast. Thanks, Fair, for talking about this. It's good to have you up here. It's good to talk about all this. And we will see y'all next time. Goodbye now.
Bye-bye.